let's talk about what yoga to do for weight loss. And I want to talk about yoga for weight loss in the sense that we use yoga as part of a healthy lifestyle in order to facilitate our weight loss goals. And so, if you're new here, my name is Heather, and I make videos to help women over 30, 40, and beyond live a healthy lifestyle through the balanced method that I have created that really just helps women live a balanced, healthy lifestyle. So let's talk about yoga for weight loss. And I think that the biggest thing when we talk about what type of yoga to do for weight loss or what should I be doing, does it even help with weight loss? You probably have all of these different questions about like does this even work for my weight loss journey? And one thing that I noticed for myself, so many of you know that I restarted my own fitness journey after a pretty major setback. I restarted, I kind of shifted from being in recovery mode from an injury to I'm getting myself back to being a healthy, fit person and sort of made that shift around February or March of last year. And I started going to yoga classes again. I started going to the yoga studio. I was doing yoga at home. I was very limited on some of the poses that I could do. I couldn't even do things like downward dog. In all reality, child's pose was the absolute hardest pose for me to do. I couldn't bend my knee. It was stretching my quadricep. It was a huge struggle for me. So there I wasn't able to do a lot of the different poses, but I showed up. I showed up to class. I was doing as much as I could at home and did the work to be able to start doing those poses again. Now, what I found was that in the first week of me going to yoga, I went to yoga, I think almost every day. It was one of those, like I had a trial where I could try things out, try all the different classes. And I think within that first week, I lost like 4.5 pounds. And now that's a pretty aggressive weight loss goal. We're obviously not trying to lose 4.5 pounds every week. But I honestly think the reason that for that was because first of all, I still had a lot of inflammation from my injury, inflammation from surgery, things like that. But also, I was really starting to pay more attention to the kinds of foods that I was eating and at what time I was eating them. And so, if you've done any sort of yoga before, you know that there's a lot of poses that you do that your head is below your heart, your head is below your stomach. Things like child's pose or forward bending, things like that. And you don't want a lot of food in your stomach while you're doing that. So I was really starting to pay more attention to just sort of how much I was eating and when I was eating. And so I really believe that that's what helped me with that initial weight loss. And I think that it also helps in your weight loss journey as part of a healthy lifestyle. It really helps you to, maintain your stress levels, trying to reduce them as much as possible, and that it's a different way of handling stress than some of the other ways that we might be used to handling stress, such as eating comfort foods, getting a cocktail after work or a glass of wine to slow down or to de-stress for the day. Doing yoga was sort of the replacement for that. It's sort of the wind down at the end of the day. I want to do yoga and have a cup of tea. It was really just sort of this mindset shift of this is what I'm doing now to help manage my stress. Okay. I have this book here. I bought it a while back and I'll put a link to it in the description. It's simply called Yoga for Weight Loss. I got it off Amazon. It's written by Lauren Fishman. He is an MD and he really talks about all of the different poses that you can do in your yoga practice that do assist with weight loss. And I think that when you're thinking about, he kind of goes into like the science of it and really explaining what kinds of things happen. So, for example, if you're doing any sort of twisting, that it can really stimulate your digestive system, it can stimulate some of your organs, things like this. So, I highly suggest grabbing that book. You're going to get a lot more detail on the sort of the science behind how some of these things work. So, I'd like to share a couple different poses that you can do for your weight loss journey. And when I teach yoga, I really teach it in a way that helps you feel strong, both physically and mentally. I'm not one of those that health coaches that preaches that we have to lose weight and we have to do this, we have to do that. Of course, I have a lot of content around that because I know that that's what many of you are searching for. But when we get into the nitty gritty of it, we're really focusing on becoming the strongest, healthiest person that we can. And that is both physically and mentally. So when I'm teaching yoga, I really focus on the strength aspect of yoga. So building yourself up physically and mentally. So there's a couple different poses that you can do that I'd like to share. Again, this book has a ton of them. Book has a ton of different poses that you can do. The first is chair pose. This one's really going to light up your glutes and your legs. And my dog is down here. He's having some fun here. So the first one is going to be chair pose. This one's really going to light up your glutes, your legs. It's really going to give you a lot of strength in your lower half of your body. So when you come into chair pose, you can't see my toes, but I got my toes together and my heels just slightly apart. And then when you come into chair pose, you're leaning back onto your heels and bringing up your hands to your biceps to your ears. So I'm leaning back onto my heels right now. You can even lift up your toes just a little bit. I know that you can't see them, but I'm shooting for really just building up these leg muscles here and becoming a much stronger version of myself. The next couple of poses are going to be the warrior series. If you've done any sort of vinyasa flow yoga classes before, you've probably done some of these warrior series. So you're going to have a couple different poses here, like warrior 1, warrior 2, and then warrior 3 really helps with balance. And I'm still working on my warrior 3 post injury. Okay. So that was warrior series of poses can really help build your strength. Like I said, you got warrior 1 here, building up your leg strength. Warrior 2, same thing. We're building up our leg strength. And then when we transition into warrior 3, we're building up our individual leg strength and our balance as well. Okay. So those warrior poses are really going to be great to help you become just this super strong badass. The next is plank pose. If you've done any sort of group exercise classes, you've probably done this pose before. So for your plank pose, maybe you'll have a little helper like I do here. But for your plank pose, what you're going to do is you're going to have your shoulders directly over your wrists, slide up like this. And then you're just going to extend out your right leg, then your left leg, holding this plank, really engaging your leg muscles, your core muscles, your glutes. You don't want to be bending up like this. You want to make sure your body's nice and straight. See how long you can hold this. Can you hold this for 60 seconds? Another option is to come down here to your knees and hold this, all right? And then work up to doing a full plank pose. So plank is a really great one for building all sorts of strength in all areas of your body. You're really going to get some good core work out there. But you know what? I didn't even realize how much you use your leg muscles to do a plank until my leg muscles were extremely weak due to my injury. So it's a really good sort of full body yoga pose that you can do to really help you just, again, become a super strong badass. And so I think all over the internet right now, we hear about the idea of cortisol levels being elevated due to stress, and that can cause additional weight gain, especially around the belly, especially for us women who are a little bit older, we're over 40, pushing 50, that those elevated cortisol levels can contribute to additional weight gain. While that's true, it's important to know that your cortisol levels do fluctuate constantly throughout the day. Okay. So you could measure them at one point of the day and they're going to be different later on. There. So I really think that when we're talking about yoga for stress management, it's really going to help keep those hormones, those cortisol levels are going to help keep things under control. But when we're talking about yoga for stress management, I think that when we have a regular yoga practice, it helps us to become more mindful. We're doing breathwork practices, we're doing all of these different things to be present in the moment. And that sort of translates off the mat. So if you're doing a regular yoga practice, you're going to start noticing that you're going to be less reactive in stressful situations. So something that at work would normally make you fly at the handle is probably not going to make you fly off the handle, or maybe not fly at the handle as much. Or maybe something your kids did that really ticked you off, you're not going to fly off the handle at them. Okay. And so I think that when we're talking about how does yoga impact our weight loss journey, this is one area that it certainly helps with that, is that it's helping us to manage the stress levels, that we're handling all of the different things that are thrown at us throughout the day. And then, like I said, towards the end of the day, we're not reaching for a glass of wine or a cocktail or comfort food. We're going to go do 20 minutes of yoga instead. So how do you create a routine then for yoga for weight loss? What kinds of things can you do? How would you do it? My personal experience, and if you've listened to some of my other videos and podcasts, yoga has always been the thing for me when I get out of my fitness routine. Yoga is always the first thing that I come back to. And I will do yoga every single day. And then I'll be like, all right, it's time to start riding my bike again or going swimming or lifting weights. So when you think about how to create your own yoga routine for weight loss, think about how much time you have, how much time you have to dedicate to a yoga practice. Is it something that you want to physically get in a car, drive to a yoga studio, get set up, find a place, check in, all that stuff, and then do yoga and then turn around, drive home? And so an hour-long yoga class could easily become an hour and a half, depending on how long you have to drive. Or is it something that you would like to do some online classes? And there's plenty of classes on YouTube. I will be offering some classes here soon as well. So you can download my Yoga for Strength and Toning guide that I have. I have a link for you in the description. I've also got it in the blog post. You can download that guide. And I've got additional yoga poses in there that you can do that's going to help you build your strength, become strong both physically and mentally. And I will be offering up yoga classes as well online. And so if you're on the mailing list, you will be the first to be notified of some of those classes that I will be offering. So when you're creating your own yoga routine, is thinking about, you want to go to in-person classes or are you good doing some at-home classes online? And do you want a particular teacher? Do you like a particular person? Is there somebody that you really want to learn from, or is there a particular type of thing that you want to do? For myself, when I was returning to my yoga practice post-injury, I really wasn't able to do power yoga or flow yoga, things like this. I was doing a lot of restorative yoga and yin yoga, which, if you're not familiar, restorative is more passive stretching, and then yin yoga is going to be a little bit more active stretching. And I was doing a lot of at-home classes just based on the type of yoga that I wanted to be able to do. So think about just like who you want to learn from or what type of yoga you want to do, or maybe combine the two. Maybe find an instructor that you really like that also teaches a style of yoga that you really like. So what you can do is just think about how much time you have in the day. If you've only got 20 minutes, then let's find some 20-minute yoga routines on YouTube, okay? If you've got a little bit more time, maybe consider joining a yoga studio, especially having that yoga instructor right there with you can help you learn some of these different poses. And then as you advance in the poses, he or she will be able to help you advance into the poses and maybe get into some of these poses that you probably wouldn't be able to do on your own without just a little bit of assistance or a little bit of even a mental push. I really firmly believe that yoga is the secret weapon that you need. In my coaching programs, I teach that I believe all women over 40, over 30, actually any age, who am I kidding here? All women at all ages should be lifting weights. And you can see Cole here is enjoying my sweat. I really believe that all women of all ages should be lifting weights, especially as you hit your 30s, you hit your 40s, you hit your 50s. You need to be doing strength training for building muscle mass and for building bone mass. And I really believe that yoga is a wonderful complementary exercise that you could do alongside a strength training program. It's sort of the opposite, whereas like with lifting weights and strength training, it's very aggressive and you're trying to you like, whereas yoga is giving you that opportunity to slow down, be present, chill out, and maybe you get to do yoga with your dogs. All right, so I do have the Yoga for Strength and Toning guide. It's on my website. I've got a link for you. You can download that guide. It's got several different yoga poses in there that I teach regularly in my yoga classes. I hope that you'll download it. I think you'll find it helpful. And if you want more personalized guidance, I do have a VIP Inner Circle monthly membership where you get access to a whole host of information about building a healthy lifestyle as a woman over 30, 40, and beyond. And I also offer one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you are looking for a little bit more personalized guidance there, check out those opportunities as well. That's all I got for today. Talk to you soon. Thank you.